Welcome to Coinology, the podcast.
You ain't getting no money if you constantly worried about what everybody else got to say. If you constantly got your eyes on what everybody else doing, you ain't getting no money. When it comes down to closing a deal, I get it done. Every single one. I'm the certified deal closer.
Welcome to Coinology, the podcast. Hey, welcome to another episode of Coinology. And I have sitting across from me award-winning actor, Maurice Kerry. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here.
I am so glad. You know, I have been talking to Tiara for a while. She kept saying, you got to get Maurice in. And I get so many people who reach out to me, and I'm always like, but Tiara, Coinology isn't the typical podcast. It's a podcast where we are talking about things. We go deep, and we talk about some areas that can be uncomfortable. I say, are you sure? She said, no, he's the perfect person. And when I'll give Tiara all her props, she stayed on top of me. And so she said, okay, get an opportunity just to talk to him. So I said, okay, out of the love for Tiara, and I love Tiara.
She's wonderful.
I love her.
Much love and much
I said, I'm gonna talk to him, but Tiara, I'm telling you, it's very hard for me to say yes. It is. It's very, very hard.
Thought I was just an actor or something.
Oh, like, no, right. It's usually hard because normally I then seek out the person. Usually when people pitch themselves, it's usually not a fit, unfortunately, right? And then we had our pre-production. And I said, Tiara, you are more than perfect for what we're going to talk about today on Coinology. So I'm glad you're here. Thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for choosing.
Yeah, definitely. Talk to me a little bit about what's your latest project that you're on?
Latest project, actually, I can't say a lot about it. It's a Lifetime film. It's a biopic about Lisa, Nicole Jam.
Oh, my goodness. What you know about Lisa? Not much.
No. Let me put it to you like this. All right, hold on. Wait. So it's so funny, right? Because I'm an '80s baby, right? Okay. And so back then in the '80s, when I was little, everything was Michael Jackson. I don't care who you was. It was Michael Jackson
or Prince.
Okay. And see, I didn't get into Prince until I was in my early 30s. I was late to Prince, and then I saw
real late.
Yeah. Then I saw Purple Rain and was like, where have I been? Like, I'm tripping. But no. So once I got the role, I can't say too much about the role, but once I got the role, it was like in my head every day, different songs from Lisa. I wonder if I take you home, would you still be in love, baby? Because I need it tonight. It was just back to back, and then I was like, yo. That's Lisa? Man, I thought that was Michael Jackson. Obviously, it's Gil.
The men loved Lisa.
Yeah.
They absolutely loved her. I would love to see that because I often wonder whatever happened to her.
We just wrapped. She's still touring. She's actually on tour right now. We just wrapped maybe like 2 weeks ago. So it'll be out next year.
Okay. Well, good. Congratulations on that. Congratulations. Thank you. And I've seen that you've been consistently working.
Yeah.
And that's hard in Black Hollywood.
Yes.
Very, very hard. Very, very hard.
They have a so it's actually been more difficult for me to break into the Black film and television sphere. I don't know what it is, but Amazon, Netflix, NBC, ABC, all those major networks, they love me. But then when you start talking about the more maybe like, I don't know about him.
Really?
Yeah.
So you get more love from the non.
No, I get more love from this side than this side.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
So let's before we start, why do you think?
You know what? I don't know.
Do you think that they don't know how to type? They don't know how to, I guess, put you in a role? What do you think it is?
You know what? I've spoken to an actor who was constantly working with a lot of the studios in the South and a lot of that Black television, and he told me flat out, he said, hey man, you gotta turn it down a little bit. He said, you going for Oscars, we need you to go for soap operas. I'm like, but I want an Oscar though.
Wow.
And so I've been trying to find that balance of going for going for it and, you know, just trying to get the job.
Oh my
you know?
goodness, my good. That's kind of heartbreaking to hear.
It's
heartbreaking. But you know, Hollywood is going through some major changes.
It is,
right? As we see it, everything is being turned upside down. A lot of our greats, people that we admired, Weinstein, Diddy, on and on, is making us question everything that we reveled. And we put on. So I'm very interested to see what Hollywood is going to look like in 2 years. Because if anybody had told me that I would see the downfall that I see today of Diddy last year this time, because I remember November of last year, he was on the cover of Upscale magazines. I got the magazine. It was his last major cover. He was all red, and I was like, goodness, this thing looks so evil and demonic because it was all red. It was a dope picture. But do you know which one I'm talking about?
Was it like, didn't he have like fur?
Fur, and it's already, he was sitting there.
I think he had his shirt off.
It was a premonition. It was no joke. And that was the last, and I still have it. I have it in my dressing room at home, but because I was a huge Diddy fan. Huge. And if somebody had told me that I would see the downfall of him to where he sits today in less than a year, someone that I grew up to, that I admire, I desire, I even enter into the industry that I'm in now with the desire. My end goal was to have Diddy as a client. That was my goal. And so you got to think about how people like me sit back now and look and say, you know, you readjust and rethink about everything that you put your mind and work into. It just really it's sombering. It makes you wonder what life will look like next year this time. Last year at this time, he was living at the top of the world.
And, you know, once that video came out and with the situation with Cassie and in the hotel, it was domino. It was a domino.
It was domino. Well, to be honest with you, it was even before that. You know,
it was
when she filed the charges. And many people say he should have just paid her to not even. But this is the thing. What most people don't realize is that was just a symptom. I think they had enough on him that he was paying her would have really been throwing money out the window because they had enough. But anyway, we're not here to talk about Diddy. Let's talk.
No Diddy.
No Diddy. No Diddy. Okay. Let's talk about you, Maurice. Where are you from?
Born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia.
Whoa.
But I've lived all over the city. I lived in College Park, Smyrna, Jonesboro, off of Lakewood Village, Ackworth, Buford. I mean, you go all over.
Oh, everywhere.
Yeah,
so are you
Georgia.
considered a Grady baby or no?
No. I'm an Atlanta Baptist. I believe they tore down Atlanta Baptist, but my mom was like, "Yo, you not being born in Grady." She's like, "Nah, you ain't finna be no mutant baby."
Okay, okay.
So no, Georgia Baptist.
But Georgia Baptist. All right. So were you raised in a 2-parent household?
No. I was raised the majority of the time by my mother, and it's so funny you asked that because I contemplate a lot and I sit and I think, and I wouldn't necessarily call it meditating, but
why wouldn't you call it meditating? You against that?
No. I don't call it meditating. The way that I envision meditating, I don't do that. Sometimes I just sit and I just think.
Okay.
You know, so I mean, you know, by definition, it could be meditating. I don't know. You know, but it's funny you asked that because I'm growing up and with a single mom and being, you know, the only child for about the first 5 years, and then hearing some of the stories that that came along with my birth and, you know, my mother not wanting kids, you know, and the reason why I'm here was because my grandmother, you know, she's like, hey, I want a grandbaby. And so I realize now as an adult how that shaped me, you know, subconsciously. I didn't know, but until I just sat back and think, I'm like, wait, is that why I think like that? Or is that why I do like that?
Did you know as a child that your mom didn't want children?
No. There was, you know, as a child, I wouldn't have been able to pinpoint that's what that was.
Okay.
You know, that's what that means. But there were, you know, when you look back and go, oh, because my mom would tell you she had to get help. She was physically abusive, and she had to get help. And knowing back now, you know, now that she's told me a story, great relationship now.
But as a child,
you
guys struggled in a relationship.
Yeah, because she didn't want kids.
Okay.
And she didn't know how to put that sort of love into me. You know.
Do you think that you reminded her of your father?
No.
No?
No. So I was a one night stand baby.
Okay.
Yeah, I was.
Okay.
I was a oops. You know.
And mom told you this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
My mom told me a lot of stuff that I realize now as an adult you shouldn't have told me that. Like,
You think she was telling you that you think it was to hurt you?
No. I think it was in her mind. I believe she was just opening up and being honest, because sometimes people will say, "Hey, I'm just being honest," but did you need to say that? Was that like, now? How does that help me with that honesty?
Right.
You know, you just unburden yourself. You feel better about being honest. Now, how did that help me?
That's right.
It didn't. It actually harmed. We might not see it now, but it could possibly manifest later. You know, which in me, it did.
So when you said she was abusive, was it enough so that the schools knew?
Yeah.
So people knew about it. Was CPS ever called in?
Yes.
Okay.
CPS at least twice. At least twice. And
Now, why didn't they take you from your mom?
well, you know what? You're asking me. You know, and I was a kid.
Right.
So I don't know the.
Do you think they should have taken you away?
No. She eventually got the help that she needed, and we've talked about it. She eventually got the help that she needed. You know, saw the psychiatrist and things like that, and realized a lot of her anger wasn't about my dad. It was about the fact that she, again, she was trying to raise me the way she was raised. My mom is the oldest of 10 kids. My grandmother had my mother at 16. And my grandmother was a single mom, and she was hard. ATL, she bootlegger, gold tooth with the drink, all of it. And but she was a sweet, kind, hardworking woman, you know. But the thing is that she took those lessons the way that she learned, and she brought them over to me, you know. And when you look. For her, it was like, oh, that's just the way I was raised. This is the way we grew. You know, I grew up. But as you get older, you look back, it's like, nah, it's kind of abusive.
Something else is going on. And you know what's amazing there is, even through the pain that you went through, anytime they came to your house twice, that means a neighbor or a teacher, somebody saw something. And you still felt like you should not have been removed. That shows the unyielding love a child has for their mother or father, no matter what. No matter what. So did that change you think that had any type of bearing on your viewpoint on women?
I do now, but if you would have asked me 6 months ago, because I came to this revelation about 6 months ago, I believe so. You know, I wouldn't have, you know, 6 months ago, I would have said, nah. But the revelation being that I want to be wanted. And I realized, I said, oh my God. I said, because one of the issues that I have with dating and, you know, I'm divorced and things like that is like, I fight so hard for relationships. I fight really hard in relationships. You know, even there's been times when it was clearly over. And I do believe now that want to be wanted stems all the way back from not being wanted from the beginning. From the very beginning. Because there was a time I didn't even live with my mother when I first came out. A few months I had to go with my grandmother because my mom, she said, Grandma, she said, Mom, you wanted them, you take them. And so obviously I don't remember any of that, but you know, consciously, but I'm sure something up there, you know. And so,
because you know, when a baby comes out, a baby initially is looking for their mother's breast to latch on. Even if a mother doesn't choose to breastfeed, it's still sniffing. It's sniffing and it's looking. It's looking. And so you were looking. So you internally knew that mom wasn't there.
Correct.
You knew.
And I do believe now that has affected me through my entire life, because I've always wanted to be wanted, like genuinely wanted. And think I've felt it at times from some people. I've felt what that's felt like, and then when you lose it, it's devastating.
You know, it's odd that you would even choose the field of study that you've chosen as far as Hollywood, because Hollywood is the most unwanting career to go after.
Hence the reason why I'm so glad I joined the Marines. I'm a decorated Iraq War combat veteran. I fought, got shot at and blown up. So that put something in me that I obviously needed, because I didn't grow up with a man in my life.
So I was about to ask you that. So it was mom and grandma, and then your sister, right?
Brother.
Okay, so there was no uncle or anybody that came in and said, "Let me make sure Maurice is good."
Yeah, but my mom, you know, I would hang out at my uncle's or my grandmother's house, and all my uncles were there and stuff like that. But I was always different. She made it a point to make sure that I was able to speak eloquently. Enunciate my words, and I wasn't talking like, "Hey, shout it," you know what I'm saying? We finna go down. No. You know, even though I can slip into that because I'm from Atlanta, she limited the amount of time I spent down over in Lakewood, because you know she worked in City Hall. She worked in City Hall, and the better she did in life, the further away we moved from Atlanta. That's how we ended up in Douglasville.
Okay.
And so,
you know, back in the day, the suburbs meant that you had arrived.
Right.
And now it's, if you live in the city, you've arrived. It's the opposite.
I didn't even catch that. You're absolutely right. And I'm like, I'm a full-time single father. I'm not going to the city.
Right.
I'm not doing it.
Right. So let me ask you this. Okay, so did you play sports or anything during high school, or?
See, this goes back to wanting to be wanted. I said I was different. I'm a nerd. I'm a geek. You know, I love video games and comic books and all that stuff. That comes from, you know, not when I started, I didn't really have anybody to play with. You know, before my little brother came along, and until he got us some size we could play, it was just me. You know, so I would always be in front of the television, and I was a TV kid, a latchkey kid. And so it would be when I got into those spaces where I was like in elementary school and middle school and high school, I didn't do the same things that other, you know, black kids did. You know, I didn't learn about R&B and rap music until I was in middle school.
If you didn't know who Prince was.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
I was the one black kid back when they still did school bus, the music on the school bus. I was the one black kid going Power 99, and they were like V103, and I was like, what is V103? And then I would listen to it. I was like, I should be listening to this.
Well, don't you think about this though? It still reflects itself today in your life, because you seem to have more Caucasian castings than you do from African American. So there's something that is connecting you subconsciously.
It's so interesting, and I appreciate the duality that my mom provided for me. You know, I used to do music, one of my lines would be, I was born in the hood but raised in the woods. And so that duality, my uncle, OG of the streets, Atlanta, Uncle Fred, he would say, "You like a corporate thug." It was the first time I ever heard that phrase, corporate thug. He said, "How you gonna throw on a suit, go kick it with the white people? You gonna right down here to the hood with us?" I said, "I don't know. It's just how it works." So I'm very appreciative of, you know, where I started and how it progressed. But I also do see the contrast. You know, as an adult, I see how some people can see me like, oh, he's non-threatening. I'm like, I used to shoot people for a living. Trust me. Be afraid. That was my job.
Be afraid, right?
Be afraid. That was my job.
Well, okay. So did you go straight into the military, or did you go to college? No, I got to go to jail. Okay.
So, I did that too.
Okay, so let's back on up.
Let's go.
Jail now, because
Let's go.
All right. So high school, was that eventful, or did
high school? So yeah. Playing sports, I tried to play football, realized I didn't like getting hit that hard, so I quit. But the reason, and again, looking back, the reason why I did, I joined the drama club, I joined chorus, I joined all these different clubs, going back again, not knowing, wanting to be wanted, to be included in something, because I always felt different and out. There was even a time, I believe it was in the 3rd grade, that I had to move to a different school because I kept fighting. I was still down in Lakewood. I think the school was Price, down there in Lakewood Avenue. But anyway, my mother had to get me out of that school because I spoke differently. And so all the other kids wanted to fight me all the time. And so moving forward into like high school, it just kept going. You know, it honestly just kept going where I was just different. You know, I was, oh, he lame. Oh, he always singing. Oh, he this and he that. And it's so funny because now, you know, now it's like, oh man, we so proud of you. I said, you the same one that tried to jump me, shoulder like y'all. Seriously, it was. I got jumped by it was like 5 guys one time, man. It was like, you know, now like 3 of them be like, yo, I seen you on Atlanta, shoulder that.
Well, you know how to go. A prophet can't be praised in his own home, so Absolutely. That's how it goes. Okay, so then it sounds like your mom did not give you a choice about college. Like college was probably a thing.
My mother definitely wanted me to go to college, and I actually started out at Atlanta. My first time going to college, it was Atlanta Metropolitan College. Okay, but I wasn't ready. Like up here, I wasn't ready to go. Reason being is because during that time, I don't know y'all remember like Drama, the rapper Live, Ride, Live, Tight for Life, Tight to Death Records. During that time. I was an R&B writer for Tight to Death, Tight for Life Records. And so I just knew I was about to blow up. You know, I knew I was, about to make it. So I was like, I ain't trying to really go to college. I was already enrolled. I was going to the classes, but I was failing. I was failing so hard because I knew I was going to be a writer. And it did not pan out.
You know, majority of the people, like I think they say 2% of the people actually make it. You know, I remember I was telling my mom too. I said, I'm not going. Well, I never said I wasn't going to college. College was always, but I kept saying I'm going to go on tour. I was a rapper too, and I said I'm going on tour before I left to go to college. And my mom was like, "No, you getting your stuff together," because my mom was one who gave me flexibility. However, there were certain things she just did not let me even play with because she knew certain things that would tempt. Like, for instance, I used to do all the girls' hair in the college dorms. And I had asked her if I can go to hair school during the summers when I was out of school at college. And my mom said no. Reason being is my mom knew that if I got too close up on that type of money that young, my desire to probably drop out of school would be high so she tried to keep those type of temptations for me. At that time I was like, why right. But I'm very thankful for it now because I did see a lot of people who became nail techs or hairstylists because they made a lot of money compared to what we saw as college kids at that time. So anyway, you go off, you go to college, you realize it wasn't working for you.
So I continued doing music with my boy Cooley C.
But how did you get into this world of crime? Talk to me a little bit about that.
First of all, I was a horrible criminal. So
what type of crime were you? Well,
it wasn't like crime, like I'm going out busting people's heads and nothing like that. But basically, what would happen was, and again, it goes back to wanting to be wanted. Again, I realize it. So. I was trying so hard to be a real nigga. You know what I'm saying? Because I thought that's all you ever want to be. You ain't no real nigga. You ain't been to jail, nigga. You ain't been to nigga. You lying. You know. And back then, at 19 years old, I'm like, well, shit. I guess I want to be a real nigga. You know. And so the first time I got locked up, I was 17. It was a hit and run, and I left the scene of the accident. And the police, you know, it was so crazy because I only did it because I wanted to show out for my homeboy was in the car, my cousin and my brother was in the car. I just wanted to show off, you know. And then the second time, it was what did I do? Oh, second time I was driving on suspended license.
So it wasn't like you were out here gangbanging.
No. I wasn't that time.
But you went to jail both times.
3 times.
What was the third time?
Third time was assault.
Okay, so it took you a moment to get to that. Okay.
Yeah, because I was like, you embarrassed me.
Okay, so you actually hit a woman.
I said, shawty, you embarrassed me.
Okay. So who was shouting?
What made you? Oh, a dude is shouting. A dude can be shouting.
Okay, I just want to make sure clarity.
Oh, yeah.
That when you say assault, we got to get clarity so that people will understand on the other side.
Got you.
Okay.
Got you. No,
All
no.
right. So it was a guy. He embarrassed you. What did he do?
Basically, we were in the. I was up there with my homeboy Cooley C. We were working on the track, and he just started talking reckless to me. Started talking crazy, reckless, and I was, what was I, 20? I think I was 20 at the time, and I jumped up, man. It was like, yo, you my boy. In my head, I'm like, I gotta do something. You can't just let him talk to me crazy like that. Just jumped up and hauled off and punched him in the face.
Sounds like you have been struggling with imposter syndrome your entire life.
Trying to figure it out.
Trying to figure it out. And feeling like you had to be something for somebody. Okay?
To be
accepted and wanted. So you hit this guy. And so the thing, though, is he actually filed charges against you?
Yeah, but
back in the day, nobody filed charges if you got hit. You just tuck it.
But
I mean,
yeah, it ended up getting dropped. So I got
But why did he file charges? Was he like? So he must have. Okay.
Yeah,
you don't know.
Yeah.
So
they got dropped. I ended up going to court. Didn't show up. That was the end of it. So yeah, I don't know.
When you didn't show up, there may still be a warrant out there for you.
No.
Okay.
He didn't show up to court. I showed up to court.
He showed up, so he just didn't.
Yeah.
Okay.
I showed up. He didn't show up.
Okay.
That was the end.
And were you guys friends ever?
No, it was an artist.
Just an artist.
It was an artist.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Yeah, and then the last thing, the thing that actually really solidified. So I actually didn't end up getting locked up, but I got so close. I got so close, and I'm actually thinking of doing a film, about this particular situation, where I eluded and I ran from the police and I got away.
Where were you running from?
I knew I wasn't supposed to have been driving.
Okay, so again, it's another driving situation.
A lot of that stuff was driving situation. I had an expired tag, no license, no insurance, and I was a repeat offender. So I was like, ooh, if they pull me over,
it's a wrap.
I'm going on to the jail. Lo and behold, and I looked right at the lights. I'm looking at, they right here. I'm looking at, I'm like, don't turn down that street. Don't turn down that street. I looked over at the girl because I was trying to show off for the girl I was with. I was like, fuck it, she want to go over there, I'll be all right. Damn.
What did you do to get their attention? Like,
I just rolled past them. Like, literally, there was a roadblock or something. They were doing something up there, and I didn't do anything in particular. It's just I rolled past them, and maybe somebody saw my tag and saw it was
expired.
It was right, and so I'm over in my head. I'm like, I know. I said, do not turn.
So she's sitting in the car.
She's sitting right in the car,
and you jump out the car and start running.
So he said, pull over. So I pull over into this little alley, and I turned to the girl. I said, look here, shout. I ain't got no license. I ain't got no insurance. I ain't got nothing. I'm going to jail. She's over here like, you so funny. You so silly. I said, I'm finna run, shout. She said, you ain't finna run. I said, man, I'm finna run. And so as the police are approaching the car, I kind of step out. I'm like, hey, officer, what's going on? Yeah. He said, get back in the car. I said, yeah, sure, officer. I'm going to get back in the car.
Oh, wow.
Took off. So
they never caught you?
No, they never caught me.
So that's how come you said you was that close.
I was that close.
Most of the times when we see these cop chases, they don't catch everybody then. Because I'm always thinking, what the hell you running for? They gonna get you.
Smart. No, I was smart. So I knew because I knew because they were on me. That I had to do something that this person would not be willing to do in order to get him off me. And so to this day, my left ankle is actually bigger than my right ankle. It's because I jumped off an overpass bridge.
My God.
I knew he wasn't going to be willing to do it. So I said, I'll do it. Lo and behold, he didn't do it. And so when I came off, I came down, landed. I was wearing Timbs. It was so bad. Sprained my ankle. And I said, I know I got to hide because I can't run no more. Hid in the bushes. Crazy part is the cars swarmed right around where I was. They literally were right around it. I'm in the bushes, ducked down like this. Back then, we still had the little Nokias, so I could be looking while I'm texting. And I told him, I said, Cooley, I said, I'm in trouble, bro. You got to come get me. This is what I'm texting. the cop, and this is the part that I still, it was either the kindness of the police officer or God or a combination of both. The cop, I'm in the bushes, ducked down, 20 years old, takes his flashlights late at night, does just like this in the bushes, right in my face. The light hits me. Click, and they going about their business. Everybody was going. And I'm like, how the fuck did he not see me? To this day, I still don't understand how he did not see me in them bushes. You know, and so I don't know if he did see me and just saw a scared kid and let me go, or I don't know.
I don't know that. I think it was, like you said, it's probably God, because the cop is probably thinking if you're running from, you could have been anything. So I don't think it was just, life, but that drove you to say, let me get my life together, and you enrolled into the military.
I knew, because a lot of my family members have F's on their record, felonies. I knew if I called a felony, it was going to mess up a lot of things for my future. So I said, you know what? I'm going to join the military. Like, I healed up a couple months later, ran over to the Army. I didn't like what they were talking about. Air Force, didn't like it. Navy, didn't like it. But then I went over to the Marines. First of all, the Marines got the dopest uniforms. That's one. Two, when I went into the office, the two guys there, they were black. I was like, oh, let me go in there with the brothers, Sign right on up.
So how long were you in the military?
I did four in the war. 4 in the war, and that was it. You blow me up, I get the point.
So I know, and you said you served in Iraq?
Correct.
And so I'm sure you saw a lot of carnage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you feel as if sometimes you suffer from PTSD from it?
I do suffer from PTSD. Mine is not as severe as what they portray on film and television, but I do have my moments. But mine is more hyper awareness and hypersensitivity. Like I'm always aware of.
Are you paranoid?
No. Hyper aware is just being aware of where you are, how to get in of a situation, how to get out of a situation, like where the exits are.
Okay, so you're always thinking about you know what? That may just be something that Marines are taught, because I know this other man that is a former Marine as well, and he says the same thing. As soon as he walks into a room, he's always looking for the exit, and he's watching the body language that a person has, how they walk. He said he can tell by the way a person walks if they are doing something illegal or not, by the way they hold their hands and I was like, wow. So is that something that you taught in the military, or?
I don't necessarily. I wasn't specifically taught that, but it could be integrated into the training because I do the same thing. Mine is more of I'm sizing people up. I'm sizing, like when I come into a room, I'm typically, people think I'm antisocial, but I'm actually just watching everybody and sizing up, specifically the biggest person in the room. Like if there's somebody who's my size or bigger, or even smaller than I am, my first thought is, if this person goes crazy, how do I break this person down if I need to, in order to protect the people around? That's the same mentality he has. Yeah, it's a protective spirit. I mean, I was a firefighter. I was an EMT. I was a security forces in Kuwait for about 6 years after the military, and so I've always had a protective spirit, and that's just a part of it. I want to protect and help.
So, did you find love in the military?
I did.
Because most people, they go
Everybody
away.
Does.
Yeah. What is it? That basic training, and they forget about the girlfriend back at home. They meet somebody new in basic training, and they get married in 2 weeks. Was that your situation?
I met her right after basic training. I was in my MOS school. I was a welder in the Marine Corps.
Okay.
And I met her in Aberdeen, Maryland.
Okay.
And she was so cute and just something different that I had never seen before.
Well, what does different mean? You mean exotic?
Her personality was different.
Okay.
She was born and raised Maryland. This is the first time I really started traveling.
Okay.
And so she was born and raised Maryland. Merlin. How she be saying it? Yeah. Where you from?
I'm from Virginia. So DMV, Maryland.
Okay, so
Maryland
that
is how
area.
she said it.
Maryland. And so, right around the Aberdeen area. And she was just different, and I only had 3 months there, but we spent a lot of time together in those 3 months.
So you can understand how people meet and they just fall in love and get married. So did you guys get married?
We did eventually.
Okay.
You know, so I was there for 3 months, and I didn't. You know, we were just hanging out, and you know, anytime I had some free time from military stuff, I was with her.
Did you have a girl back at home though before you went in?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no. I don't have the energy for a whole bunch of.
Well, see, I grew up in the Tidewater area. So if you're in the military, you know Hampton Roads. So in Hampton Roads, all of the military bases are there. The Navy, the Army, Marine, everybody's there. Okay. And so what I always had in the back of my mind about military men, they just ran the women, period. And I was never really, you know, I was like, okay, I'm not dealing with anybody in the military because I just saw where they always had multiple families, multiple women, and it was always running the game. So you must have been really different.
I was.
Okay.
And it's so crazy because, you know, let's just jump forward a little bit. So I was in a rap group while I was in the Marine Corps. This is like, starting like 2004. It's so funny you say that because I was in a rap group, 4 guys. I was the only one who was single and divorced. Didn't have no girls. The other one married. Girl over here, girl over here, girl over there. And I was like, they be like, hey, Pless, you know, that's my last name. Like, Pless, tell my wife this, tell my wife that. I'm like, man, why y'all stop messing with the hoes. Like, just stop. You know? And so it's just funny you say that because that is a stereotype. That is a stereotype, and I never fit that.
So how long were you and your wife together at that time?
So so I went off to Japan. So we spent 3 months together, and then I went off to Japan. I thought it was over. She says,
why?
You
just thought because you left. Okay.
Yeah, I thought because I was new to it. So I called her while I was over in Japan, and I was like, you know, all right, it was fun. And she's like, we still together. Oh. Okay, nah, we still together. I was like, all right, cool.
And that made you feel wanted.
Yeah, it did. I was like, cool, we still together. And so I was in Japan for a year, but during that year, and I still have the pictures, during that year, I sent her an engagement ring in the mail, and I proposed to her like over the phone, over a video. I did a video, because back then it was VHS camcorders, so I did a video of a proposal. She probably still got it. And I proposed to her on a video over the phone, and so we ended up getting married until October 25th, 2005 is when we divorced.
Okay, so how long was that? Again, you married?
Between 2002 and 2005.
So what exactly happened to cause the divorce?
I went off to Iraq. She got lonely.
Okay.
Yeah, and she got lonely and got pregnant by somebody.
So you found out while you were in Iraq?
No. I found out in the stupidest way possible.
How'd you find out?
So when I came home, September 2004, I came home from Iraq. You've seen those movies where, you know, they had the parade deck and people are coming off the buses and, you know, all the families running up. Well, when I got off the bus, I looked around and nobody was there. You know, no family. You know, my wife was supposed to be there. She wasn't there. And so I knew something was up. So when I got home, I looked around for her, couldn't find her at the house, and you know, again, something.
She wasn't even there with a dinner or nothing.
Nothing.
Not even no KFC.
Nothing. So before I got home, I stopped by the store because I knew her favorite thing was mint chocolate chip ice cream and apple juice. And when I got in the house, I put down my bags. We had an upstairs and the living room. Once you walk in, you right in there in the living room and the kitchen, you can see all that. So when I walked in, I didn't see anybody. And so I said, there's no way she's not in this house. She must be upstairs. So I go into the kitchen, I fix her a bowl of ice cream and apple juice, and I put it on a tray, and I start to walk it upstairs. I get upstairs, and I go into the bedroom. Bed's made, everything's clean. Nothing, nobody's there. And I'm like, there's no way this woman is not in this house. I said, I just got back from Iraq. I put the tray down. I put the tray down in the kitchen, and then that's when my delusion kicks in, you know, because there's no way she's not in this house. I look in the bathroom. I looked behind the refrigerator. I looked in the pantry. I looked in the under the sink. I looked everywhere in the house because there is no way. I just came back from war, and my wife is not in this house. That's impossible. 2.5 hours later, I finally get it in me to call her mother. And her mom, I said, hey, Miss T. And she was like, and I was young, so it didn't click. Oh, I ain't got nothing to do with y'all business. I ain't talked to her, I ain't seen her. I ain't got no parts of that.
So right then.
I was young and I didn't catch it.
Okay.
You know, I didn't catch it. But I ain't got no part of that. I was like, nah, I was just looking for her, ma'am. She ain't home. I just got back from Iraq. She's not here. I ain't talked to her. And she hung up. Probably about an hour after that, you know, I was just picking up the car to police because I started to get worried. She come walking in the door. And she walks in. I look at her and I say, I made you some ice cream.
You came all the way from Iraq and you made her ice cream.
Yeah, it's melted. I made you some apple juice. It's probably warm. And then I went upstairs. I sat on the edge of the bed. I just cried.
So you knew? Did you know then?
Still didn't know. The moment, so we ended up having a conversation that night, and the conversation ended with, I think you should move into the barracks. We were in our own home, and I said, I think you should move into the barracks. I said, cool. I said, whatever I got to do to make this thing work.
So at that moment, that still didn't cross your mind?
Didn't click, but so as I'm walking out to go to the car so I can grab some things to go move into the barracks. So I'm in my head, I'm like, we're going to work this thing out, whatever. I don't care, whatever I got to do, baby. I'm walking on the street. And so with men, as you're walking, sometimes we be a dude, we don't even know him. And, you know, you just walk past dude, what's up? Dude, just like that. What's up? Just walk, keep on walking. You ain't got to know the dude. So we walking on the street going to her car, and I'm walking, and I do like this. What's up? It's just some guy. And he does the same to me, and I get about 10 steps, and I hear, Neat, come here.
Uh-oh.
Neat, come here right now. I said, baby, don't go over there. I said, who is this? Hey, buddy, don't worry about this. Motherfucker, do you know who I am? Do you know? I said, that's my wife. I said, baby, don't go over there. So I'm here. He's here. She's in the middle. I said, baby, don't go over there. She look at me. She look at him. Walked her little ass right on over there. And I was like, you know you got some explaining to do. We walked back in the house, and we had about a 45-minute conversation. And I asked some of the dumbest questions men we love to ask. We love to ask. So I let him walk off. Because
so he was just basically peeing on the territory, letting you know who he was.
It seems as much.
Because if he let her go back in the house with you and he left.
Well, here's the thing. He whispered something in her ear and left. And I remember something that my mother had told me. She always said, don't ever get mad at the guy. Don't ever get mad at the person that, you know, they mess with. Get mad at the person because that person didn't have any allegiance to you.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? And so he said something to her. To this day, I'll never know. And then he walked off. And so I went up to her and I said, yo, you got some explaining to do. I said, I'm not moving into the barracks now. Let's go in here. And we talked. So we went in there and we talked. It lasted about 45 minutes. But the only thing that I can remember are, I think it was 2 questions I asked. You know, them stupid, hurtful questions that men love to ask. Mm-hmm. Do you love him? I have love for him. And I remember these answers verbatim. This was 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. Do you love him? Mm-hmm. I got love for him. Did you sleep with him? Yes. Now, why would I ask this next question? How many times? Well, if I could re-ask that.
Well, that comes from the youth, you know.
Right. I was young.
When you were young, you ask those type of questions.
Who cares? You know,
right.
Is a dick bigger than mine? I didn't ask that, but I'm just. But that's the shit that we ask.
Right. That's when you ask. Shit. Yeah.
And so I asked her. I said, "Did you sleep with him?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "How many times?" She said, "More than I can count on one hand." These are things that I can remember verbatim. 20 years later, and so I said, "Well, you know, I'm not moving out now." So I ended up, my stupid ass. So I ended up staying in the house, but she went and stayed at her friend's house, who I'm actually really good friends with that friend. Now, I blamed her for years. for years because she was messing around on her husband too. So I was like, you influenced my wife for years. And then we talked about it. She's like, it was her first. I'm like, damn, my wife was like, oh shit. So I took her down there and dropped her off. And the last thing I said to her, I'll never forget, and just be want to slap shit out myself when I said, I said, regardless of whatever happened, I would still be honored to be your wife. Husband. Be your husband.
Okay, so you said that. Did you know she was pregnant at that moment?
Yeah, not a clue. So the way
so
I found
you were
out,
still, that was you still fighting to be wanted.
And to do the right thing that I believe that a husband is supposed to do. You know, you fight through it.
So you would be honored to still be her husband.
Yeah. You know, I was 23. I was 23. So just...
But were you in love with her, or was it the desire to be wanted?
I loved her. I did.
You did.
You know, and that love lasted even after the end of because she was she was dope. Now I would say she was dope. You know, before all the bullshit happened, everything was dope, and we actually ended up reconciling 10 years later. You know,
wow.
2014. You know, we
but let's not go too far.
Oh no, we ain't gonna go too far.
I want to go back. So how did you find out she was pregnant?
So this was September. So the very next month, I had already moved in. Was I still in the house? No, I had moved out into the barracks. I had let the house go, and she was off with the dude. You know, we were minding our own business. It's fine, okay. You know, she didn't want to be with me. She wanted to be with him. Cool. And I'm doing the rap thing. You know, I'm with my homeboys, and we making music. And I'm over one of my guys' house, and we, you know, making this song. And I get this random ass text. Now, mind you, this is 04, so we still had the old little flip phone. People still could do like the little block and stuff. It's not like it is today. And I get this message, and this message I still remember verbatim. Random. Wouldn't bother nobody. The message was, stupid nigga, I took your wife, got her pregnant. Now you can have her back. How does it feel that your wife is having my baby? Verbatim. 20 years later, I'll never forget it. And the thing is like the guy. So what I didn't get into is like me and the guy got into a fight that night that I found out. He and I ended up fighting later that night. And so through her, he knew everything about me. I didn't know his name. I didn't know what he looked like. I didn't know shit about the guy. You know, and I say I didn't know what he looked like because I didn't remember. You know, it was dark. I'm fighting this dude, you know. But so for an entire year, he would call, hey, what up, nigga? Fucking your wife. Shit like that. Just for a whole year. You know, and I didn't know. My phone would ring. Yeah, hello? Hey, what up, nigga? Oh, fuck is this nigga?
Were they still together?
You know, I don't know. I didn't know anything about them because I was minding my business. You know, she and I would only talk about like divorce stuff and all that type of stuff, but I was just minding my business. So I didn't know.
So you had no idea she was pregnant?
Oh, so I'm sorry. Yeah, no, I didn't have any.
You didn't visually see it until he.
No. Yeah, I didn't because we didn't see each other. We didn't. She and I didn't see each other or anything. We didn't associate nothing, and so I didn't know anything until he sent that text. You know, and ran it. I'm like, yo, I'm over here minding my business. Like I ain't did nothing. You know, so she and I ended up talking about stuff like that 10 years later, and she was explaining to me that he had a lot of jealousy toward me. You know, and I was like, that's weird. That's weird. She was like, yeah, he was real jealousy. I was like, damn.
Sound like to me she was playing both ends of the stick.
Well, I don't.
That's what it sounded like.
How?
I mean, if you think about it, I mean, of course, if she told him everything there was to know about you, she put you in a disadvantage.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, and it sounds like she was playing a little bit of games. It's games that people play.
Right. I don't see how she was playing a game with me because we weren't talking. We weren't socializing. So,
but if you were her husband and this man was having an affair with her and you were coming home, of course he's going to want to know and make sure he mark his territory and things of that nature. I just feel as if, like your mom said, you know, the person that you have to hold accountable is her. She's the one that was married to you.
Mm-hmm.
She was the one who shared the information to him about you.
Right.
She was the one who allowed herself to become pregnant by him.
Mm-hmm.
And she must have been the one who gave him your phone number.
Yeah, no.
Because back then, it was no way to get people's numbers like it is today.
No, that's what
so she was playing a game.
Well, that's what I said. I said, through her, he knew everything about me.
But the fact that you were willing to reconcile with someone who hurt you so deeply.
Yeah, I mean, it took 10 years.
But it went back to the desire of being wanted.
Oh, let me clarify, reconcile. It wasn't like we were getting back together. It was more of it was 10 years, like 2014. We had gotten in contact. We were talking. It's like, hey, because we never really talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I flew out to Maryland, and I was there for like I think I was there for like 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
We hung out, we talked about it, and had dinner, cried, and then that was the end of it.
Let me ask you something. What was there to talk about?
A
lot of times people talk about, I want closure. What is there to close? The closure was when she had a baby by another man.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of times we put ourselves in situations of undue pain. It reminds me a lot, and we haven't even tipped everything, when you said to me that you should not have been taken away from your mother, when CPS was called out to you twice, you forgave and still loved. This woman put you through the worst amount of pain that a man should ever experience, and you forgave, flew out and had dinner, ice cream, cried with her. She betrayed you the worst way possible.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems as if that pain, desire, it came back at 23 years old. The same little scared boy at 7 years old was the same scared man at 23. Same scared, because the average man most men can't even handle their woman even kissing another man.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Even though we know what really probably happens in most relationships. They just don't need to know about it. This man not only came and peed in your territory, he showed up at your house. He sent you he told you some of the, most men, that's just going through that. So anyway, let's move on from her though, because after that relationship, did you stay in the military or did you?
No, I got out in 2005, but I was homeless for.
Now, how did that happen?
I just didn't have nowhere to go. I stayed in California, and the plan was to be married and all that other stuff. Obviously, that fell through. But ended up being homeless for a while. But I was.
Well, when you say homeless, because sometimes people say I'm homeless and they were living with their friend. So, were you literally living on the street?
I was living in my homeboy's car, who was out in Iraq.
Okay. So you had your homeboy's car.
It was a Malibu, a 2004 Chevy Malibu.
And you were living in the car.
Living in his car.
How long were you living there?
It was back and forth, off and on, because during that time there was the time of MySpace. There was a time of MySpace, and so there would be times where I would live in the car, and I was like, okay, this ain't gonna work. I gotta find somewhere to be. And so I get all charming and whatnot online, and I would meet a young lady and. Hey, how you doing? Oh, then I would tell them my story. I'm divorced and this, and I'm homeless. Oh, you can come stay with me.
Wow, that says a lot about women, right?
Well, it's a different time. We were younger.
Yeah. So you basically were finding a home through MySpace.
Yeah, finding a home through MySpace.
So how many women do you think you probably end up moving in with through MySpace so that you can at least have a roof over your head?
Oh man, so first time, well. 3. Definitely 3. Yeah, definitely 3.
Yeah. So basically at that point you were living with people for a roof over your head.
Correct.
Okay.
It wasn't, obviously I would provide services or whatnot, but it was.
What services are you providing?
Well, the first person who I'm still cool with, she and we laugh about it now. I told her, hey, she was like, well, you can come stay with me. It's just me and my son here. And I'm like, okay, cool. And I said, you know what, I'll do it. Like, I'll make sure the house is clean and all this stuff while I'm trying to get myself together, trying to find, somewhere to work, somewhere to stay. I would, I would cook and clean. I would basically be, and I would watch her son when she would be off at work.
And that was strange that she just let.
When you look back now, yes.
Yeah.
But at the time, because I know I'm trustworthy like that.
Right. Well, you know that.
Yeah, but she doesn't know that. I know.
Right.
Exactly. And so, you look back now, it's like, wait a minute. But at the time, I knew I was, I know me, and So, and then occasionally, because there'd be single women, and they'd be good looking, they'd be like, "What you doing in there?" "I'm just laying on the couch." "Come here. You come in here lay with me?" "Sure." I'll come lay with you. Define lay with you. And, and so I also had my penis payments I had to put out there. I had to pay rent. A little bit.
And until they was like, okay, it's enough, and you got to go.
Oh no, that was always me.
You left on your own.
Yeah, I was like, okay,
So you would just leave until you found the next chick who had the better place to stay.
It wouldn't even be about the better place to stay. It would be. It was more about the vibe. The energy would change a little bit in the house.
Well, I'm sure she probably was like, okay, is there a job? You got some coins coming?
Oh no, it was never that. It was more of so are we a thing now? Are we together now? And I'm like that was never so. First of all,
yeah, we should be together. If I'm letting you come move in my house.
Right. First of all, and see, it's like, first of all, penis was never originally a part of the plan. You wanted to add that to the contract. So,
but if you met them on MySpace, you would assume that you were meeting them to date them, right?
Nah, it was never that. It was always, hey, look, I'm out here, I'm living in my buddy's car. Oh, you can come stay with me. They wanted to do something kind for somebody.
See, that says a lot about women, that they would take somebody that's homeless.
I was dusty. I was a dusty.
And bring them around their children. And then say, hey, you want to come sleep in my bed? How did you find out? Did she tell you?
So I was back in Atlanta for about 6 months, and she ended up sending me divorce papers.
Oh.
She ended up sending me divorce papers, saying that she wanted to take custody of our daughter, and I was over, and what was astonishing to me is that she forgot she married a Marine, and I'm like, oh, you thought I was one of them dudes that's gonna be like, okay, you the mom, the baby go with you. No. I fight. That's what I do. And so I fought for custody, ended up winning.
Okay.
And, she disappeared for many years. Many, many years. But the way that I found out was during the proceedings. I was about to agree to something. I don't remember what it was, but I was about to agree to something that I really didn't want to agree to. But the mediator said, you need to tell him. And I was like, tell me what? And she was over the phone. She wasn't even there. She was over the phone. And she was like, look, some, I'm pregnant. And I was like, I looked at the mediator and I said, hell no, I ain't finna do that. And, I could hear her laughing and chuckling on the phone. I said, you evil ass woman. And the thing is, it didn't hurt me or didn't bug me because it's like, oh, the first one did it better than you anyway. So it's like, the first one did it better.
What you mean did what better?
Like she cheated and had a baby better. That shit didn't hurt like the way.
Do you think that this one tried to use that? Did she already know that that's what happened the first time? And she was trying to hurt you.
She definitely knew that. I don't know if she was trying to hurt me, but what I do know is that it didn't hit the way that first one hit.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? It was like, all right, cool.
Well, I think after going through that first one was probably extremely traumatic. It's like you have your first love and your heart is broke. It's one of the most traumatic things.
Then the other part of that too is that I had something more important to focus on now. I was like, okay, cool, you want to go, cool, but we gonna fight for this baby. So again, I ended up getting custody, and she disappeared for 13 years. And the only reason why she popped back up, like no calling, she's still currently $130,000 behind in child support. And the only reason why she popped up like 2 years ago was because the courts finally found her, and she was trying to, make some stuff happen. But so she did the whole, I'm a great mom thing. She would, start sending stuff, calling, popping up at the house. And then as soon as they finished up the proceedings,
she was gone again.
And the thing is, I knew it but there's no part of me that I could have said, I because my daughter hadn't seen her mom since she was 1. You know, I couldn't say, stay away from her, don't talk to her. It's like, I know what's gonna happen. Rocking a hard place.
So did that change your perception about relationships, women?
It made me much more aware. You know, much more aware of what people are capable of. And then again, even during my time and we didn't use the phrase earlier, but even as my time as a hobosexual, you know, I saw so many things that I didn't realize as a young man it was harming me. You know, with dating and women, because sometimes women would have boyfriends and husbands and things like that. And at the time, as a young man, I thought that shit was cool and funny. I was like, I got this dude, girl, not realizing that was implanting an idea about women in my head at a young age that I would carry throughout the rest of my life. When you see it, you can't unsee it. You can't unsee what people are capable of doing to other people. How far they will go to have their own pleasure. You know, I just want to feel good. I want to do something for me despite the hurt and pain that it could do to you. You know, and so I've seen it, and it makes it much more difficult now because I've seen too much. And I've been on all 3 sides of cheating. So
Right.
I've seen and I've done too much.
Have you ever cheated?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so you have cheated. Okay, so you've seen on all ends.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And when I say that, and I say this because you know, it wasn't and this is not a justification. I'm just explaining it. The cheating came after it was kind of like dead. It's like, oh, you know, over there doing this, but you know, as we're still married, we're still technically together. It's like, okay, you know, it's still cheating.
Do you believe in monogamy?
Absolutely.
You do?
I don't. I'm sorry. I was overthinking. In a relationship, yes. You know, I'm all for it. That's my preference because I would rather pour into this one person everything that I have. I just want to put this in you.
Do you think you've ever been in a relationship where both parties were 100%?
I don't think so. Coming to that realization, I don't think I am
So the question is whether or not monogamy is even obtainable.
I think it is. I don't think it's natural. I don't think monogamy.
You don't think it's natural?
No. I don't believe monogamy is natural.
Why not?
I do. I just look at every other animal on the planet, save for a few species of birds. Everything spreads naturally. That's why they say, you know, men cheat and things like that. We naturally, our innate instinct is to spread the seed.
But it sounds like it's not just men, right?
What you mean?
Well, in your situation, it was women too, right?
Well, I don't think it was for the purpose of the seeds. I think it was hypergamy. You know, feeling like I'm gonna get something better. I'm gonna get something better. I'm gonna get something better. You know, so I think it was more of hypergamy and not the wanting to spread, you know, seeds and things.
Yeah, maybe not to spread yourself around, but I think probably a desire to be wanted, loved, held, and you being gone out the country, being young, and you know, so many different things. But I question because, you know, there's so many. It sounds like in the relationships that we're talking about with you, you know, it was either on your side or their side. And usually when you talk to people who've been married for 50, 60 years, they'll tell you stories of what they've had to overcome. So the question is, if monogamy is not natural, why are we forcing ourselves to do it?
I believe that part of it has to do with you know, religious and biblical reasons, but also why do we force ourselves to do it? Because the opposite would hurt a person that we love.
But would it hurt if you both are open and honest?
If that's what you both are into, it's fine. You know, if that's what you guys agree to. But if you agree, if you make an agreement that it's you and it's me, and then that agreement is broken, I think that's the harm and that's the pain that we try to avoid. So it's like, hey, I'm gonna stick to this agreement with you and me. If I don't do that, I know that I'm gonna hurt you, and that is not what I want to do.
And it's risky. If you open the door up to somebody else coming into your relationship,
Absolutely.
the likelihood that the love could become more prevalent with one person over the other, it could start off with an agreement with it just being you and them, and then it's just a risk. I think love in general is just life. Life is a risk, but I'll say this. I think it's important to love, and I think it's important to lose. I think that's all part of life.
Absolutely.
I think it's a part of it. The pain, the enjoyment, the love, the ecstasy, all of that is what we are here to feel. If we haven't felt it, we haven't lived, right?
Can't appreciate it.
We can't appreciate it.
Well, living and dying is the same as gaining and losing. And we appreciate life because we know at some point it ends. So even if you've gone through things, when that great person comes along, you can appreciate and understand that there's a possibility. Actually, not even a possibility. 2007, there is somebody that would have been dope
For you?
and
you let them go?
I let them go.
Why?
She had a son. And
So-
I didn't have kids yet. And I just like, I can't do it. And even now, I look back and I go, she was dope. But I
Did you look her up on Facebook or
couldn't
something?
remember her last name. I can only remember her first name.
Oh, man. Oh,
I remember.
man.
I remember, like, where she lived. I remember, what she looked like. I remember her first name, where she worked. I remember everything.
So
but her
are
last
you
name.
one of the ones who believe that it's that one person in the world for you? Like there's nobody else, but it's that one person. Everybody else could be great, auxiliary feelings, but it's really that one person for you.
It's funny you say that. As many times as I've been unsuccessful at relationships and love, people say, "Are you still?" I say, "Yeah, I'm still open to it." Reason being is because there are billions of women in this world. There's got to be at least one, at least. And if there's not, then it's me. It's me.
Dating? Are you on dating apps?
No. I've gotten off of those. They pretty much just want dick pics all the time. So
That's it.
That's really. Hey, let me see it. And I understand
So they're asking you that online?
I screenshotted one of them.
I bet you if they ask Fonz, he'll send it over. Quick,
Look,
right?
he said, I sure would.
What about you, Jesse? You sending them over?
I sure. So no, I actually screenshotted a young lady in her profile. She said it flat out, and I do and it's so funny. As time passes, I kind of understand why a woman would ask, because for us, we can see everything y'all got. It's like, oh, she got did. I know.
Well,
that.
you really don't know, because in this day and time, people putting on
right.
body shapers
Right.
and fajas and all type. Of, They also got the ones with the butt pads. And
Right.
So you really got to be careful, okay?
Fair enough.
All
fair
right.
enough. But for y'all, it's a 50-50 gamble every time. It's like, all right, it's time. Really? You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, so I get why they be asking now. I do.
But I don't know. That just seems kind of cringy, though. So that's what the dating apps. That's what they into now.
I mean, I've seen a few profiles where it's wild. They just come right on out.
Wow.
But
Wow.
I don't. Other thing too is I don't mess around on the apps because I'm not interested in dating. Like I don't.
So you completely done with dating right now?
Dating is going to have to come punch me in the face.
Okay.
Like,
So you've never had a relationship with one of your co-stars on set?
no.
No?
Let me make sure so I make sure I'm not lying to you. No, but there was one time where there was someone that I was, I wasn't even interested in, but we would talk on set. We had certain scenes.
Sex scenes?
No.
Because I often wonder this, Maurice. Let me just ask this question.
Come on.
I know my team, they're asking me to, but y'all, I still got a few more questions. So y'all let me go, okay?
Come on.
So when the sex scenes are happening, right? Have you ever had a sex scene?
Yes.
Okay, so how?
Not power level though.
Because power is no
Power be
joke.
getting
Oh my
in.
goodness. So I have to ask this question because I often wonder. I'm like, well, a minute. is he inserting her, and how?
I'm down. No, go ahead.
But and I know they have like a sex coach too. That's right there, right? Intimacy coach. Mm-hmm. But I often wonder, like, how do you separate
the parts?
Yeah.
So for the fellas, we would typically get a sock. Or depending on the level of the camera, like if it's from the waist up, we might just have one on our drawers. Mm-hmm. But being professional, and then the woman may
professional.
Being professional. We both know, as the man and the woman, we both know that if it's there, you know, and you know you acknowledge it, but you don't be like your dick is hard, you know, you just let it be what it is. Mm-hmm. And so that's pretty much what you do. You know,
you just acknowledge it, but you just don't go too far.
Right. You don't start rubbing it on there.
What if? Because I guess that's the intimacy coach, right, is to ensure that he doesn't do that.
Right. And it's you know, if it does happen, again, being professional in the moment, if it does happen, you both understand that it wasn't intentional.
Wait a minute, hold on. I don't just understand. If you insert me, that means
no. This stuff covered.
Okay, so it's covered.
That's what I'm saying. But if they start banging up against you,
then you know what's going on. Yeah, because it seems to me now. I heard this through the grapevine about the whole intimacy scenes on Power and the Power universe. I heard that's kind of like a rite of passage. Like if you are not willing to have a sex scene, then you're not going to get casted for that show.
Yeah, I don't know. Mm-hmm. You know, I've not been asked to, you know, audition for that particular show, but I don't know. I did know. Oh, you know what? I know a couple of people that got cast in that show, and that was one of the main things. So I don't know if you saw. Do you watch Power?
Oh, most definitely.
Okay. So do you remember? So one of my students, because I'm also an acting coach. One of my students, this past season? Yeah, episode 1 of this past season of book 3 with Tariq and all of them. There's a scene where Method Man is in the shower with 2 girls, and one of the girls is my student, and she was like, "Coach, they want me to show my breasts, and they want me to pretend like I'm giving them head." And I'm like, you have to have the strength to be able to look, if you're not comfortable with it, walk away. She's like, well, I'm a model, I'm okay showing my breasts. I'm saying, what about the rest of it? I'm not okay. Then have a conversation with them, let them know. And in the scene, she ended up not doing the fellatio portion of it, but she showed her chest. And she was cool. She was happy with it. And so,
was she really happy with it? Because the question is, from what I hear, it's like the objectification of women. And from what I've heard in the industry, that is something that must be done as a rite of passage. And if you think about mostly all of the actors on their shows, all of them have had a sex scene. And sometimes you ask yourself, was that scene even really needed for the show?
Gratuitous sex scenes. So yeah, and I don't want to just talk about Power in itself.
No, but it's just because it's show. And by the way, I love Power.
Oh, me too.
So I'm not talking.
Shouts out to Mary J. Blige.
Hey, shouts out to my girl. Shouts out to 50. Shout out to Lala. We go all of them. They put it in, right? I'm not knocking that, but it's just what we think about what's required in the industry and whether or not we're willing to do it or not.
Yeah. Again, it just depends on what a person is comfortable with. I haven't had one that extensive, but if it makes sense for the story and it adds to the story, like let's say you're trying to show that you have this certain type of relationship with your partner, and it's this and this and this. If it makes sense, I'm cool with it. But if it's just there, all right, we just want to see your butt cheeks.
Like Tubi. Tubi just has so many unnecessary sex scenes.
Does it? Tubi
is nothing more than a porn shop. If you want to see some porn, go to Tubi.
So
go to Tubi.
So I'm actually there's this show called Sex Mogul on Tubi. If you go to Tubi Sex Mogul, I play the police captain on there, and so it's about a stripper and whatever. So when I say stripper, and when I watched it, I was like, y'all did all that, and so I'm talking to the girls that plays the stripper. She goes, we wanted it to be real. I'm like, That's crazy. So just if y'all get a chance, check out Sex.
Well, I know
on Tubi.
some of the filmmakers over on Tubi. Their whole point is to put the sex scenes in. They know that's what gets people to watch
Talk
and to overlook the bad acting sometimes.
Right. So I think the wildest thing I've ever done in a film. It's a film called Urge. It was my first lead in a film, independent. It's on Tubi as well. I had to simulate masturbation I went for it. And so it's so funny, internet, they're gonna meme you. There was a whole meme campaign about the faces I was making. they had all the memes on TikTok about me. And so that's probably the wildest I've ever done on camera. But again, it's all about what makes you comfortable. And
I'll say this too. I don't want people to think we're going hard on Tubi, because I am very appreciative that Tubi's giving so many African American filmmakers and actors jobs. And what I will say is that we have to be open to the growth of independent films. If you think back to early 2000, I think I remember Twa was probably one of the most popular. Remember Twa with Kenya Moore and all of them? Yeah. I think Kenya was in that. But Twa was an independent film. Back then, if you were doing independent films, you didn't get any play because there was no internet to really help push your work. Right. There was no Tubi. There was no major movie theaters were playing it. So today, Tubi's giving a lot of great opportunities. So what's next for you, Maurice?
Well, right now the industry is shifting and realigning, and it's pretty quiet out there. I do coach and I do teach. So right now it's just I'm on the teaching, coaching, acting circuit.
Imagine your life though. Yeah. It's a completely from rapping to hobosexual to military, fighting the odds, running from cops to now acting in major films and coaching up-and-coming actors. I mean, that's a major shift.
We're actually working on a pilot about my life, starting from 2002. Starting from 2002. About going through all those things that I went through, being homeless, being married, being divorced, war, being a full-time single father, all of that.
It's amazing. That's amazing.
I appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you coming out today.
Oh, it was an honor.
I mean, this was a great conversation, and I know that so many people are going to be in our comments about some of the stuff that we talked about today. But I really appreciate you coming out.
Absolutely.
And definitely send my regards to Tiara.
Okay, I will.
Love her.
Yeah, love you.
And thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on Coinology. Welcome to Coinology, the podcast.
You ain't getting no money if you constantly worried about what everybody else got to say. If you constantly got your eyes on what everybody else doing, you ain't getting no money. When it comes down to closing a deal, I get it done. Every single one.
Welcome to Coinology, the podcast.